So what does the future of Star Wars look like? Well, show-wise, we have The Acolyte, which, to be honest, I think will be a major flop. I've talked about this in other videos, so I won't dive a lot into it. However, I was initially excited for the show, and while I think the potential of a show that is about the Sith is so high, I don't think it'll reach that height due to the entire premise of the show breaking canon. I'm no longer as hyped as I was initially because I think it will damage Star Wars more than it'll actually help Star Wars. However, I am hopeful for a miracle. Now, after that we have Skeleton Crew, and we don't know much about that show. However, I am excited to get any new info about that show. Of course, the big thing. It's the Mandalorian and Grogu. Star Wars return to theaters in 2026 will be about good old Mando and Grogu. Mando and our little baby green friend. I think the movie can be great. It's Dave Filoni's chance to make a great movie. But box office wise, it might actually flop. And some people might just disregard that and say as long as it's a good movie. But if the box office flops, then maybe Dave Filoni won't make another movie. Then maybe they won't make another movie about Mando. So the box office is important. And I do think that the Mandalorian movie has a chance to flop or break even, which breaking even isn't going to be successful. And Disney would count that as a loss because it's Star Wars, return to theaters. Force Awakens made $1 billion because people were so anticipated. They had so much anticipation for the show, and The Phantom Menace, so much anticipation. That's why these people come out. Return to theaters, but I think there is a chance, I would say it's less of a chance, but there is a chance that the movie flops. I say this because for your average person who would normally show up for a Star Wars movie, they might actually sit this one out. And the reason I say this is because many people will not want to watch 3 seasons of a show before watching this movie. And I'm sure Kathleen Kennedy will say, you don't have to watch 3 seasons of a show. You can just go in. And of course they'll say that because they want you to watch the movie. But I think those people would be really confused. And, there's those normies. I think that's the word that you call them, that they don't even like Star Wars. Not that they don't like Star Wars, but they don't care. They don't invest. Maybe they even watch the show. Or any shows. I'm not just talking Mandalorian or any show, but they just show up because it's Star Wars and all their friends watch Star Wars, so they just buy a ticket. I don't think those people will show up for the Mandalorian Grogu movie. There's a chance, but I really don't think they will, especially when they know that they have to watch 3 seasons of a Star Wars show. So, that's the future of Star Wars. But that's not exactly what this video is talking about. This video is about the future of the Star Wars timeline. What I mean by that is we have the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, and we have the sequel trilogy. But what comes after the sequels? This is the big question, because this is where the story needs to be told. Finally, be no more limitations for Star Wars writers. Star Wars writers who made shows such as Clone Wars and Rebels have to keep in mind the movies that happened before and after their project. Because, an example, Ahsoka. Dave Filoni puts her in the Clone Wars, but he has to get rid of her because she's not in Episode 3. Ezra, Kanan. These people they were put into a show and Dave had to get rid of them. It's sad because it is a little hard to get invested in these shows when you know that these characters aren't in the movies. It really does take you out a little bit. So that is a problem that writers have to deal with. However, for once, if we go after the sequel trilogy, there will be no limitations. Because if you're making movies after everything has already happened, you have free reign. So the only project that does take place after the sequel trilogy is the Rey movie. It seems as if the Rey movie will be about Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order, based off leaks that we've seen, so not 100% confirmed. They were rewriting a lot of things. I've heard about that, allegedly or rumored. So it could change, but it seems like it's going to be about Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order. And while I don't want to see Rey at all, or any of the sequel characters, I guess rebuilding the Jedi Order and maybe rebuilding the Republic is the best way to do it. However, when I do watch this movie, in the back of my mind, I will be like, how come Rey is going to be able to rebuild the Jedi Order, not Luke? I will always think about the sequel trilogy and remember The Last Jedi. Even though I like to try to pretend it doesn't exist, if Rey is successful in rebuilding the Jedi Order, does that mean that she's a better Jedi than Luke? Because, of course, Luke was not able to rebuild and sustain a Jedi Order. So if Rey is able to do that, does that mean she's better? I wonder if she will have a situation where one of her students has dark thoughts, and she can sense that. If she senses that in her students, or a Padawan, if she senses their dark thoughts or evil thoughts, what will she do? Will she make the same mistake as Luke and try to kill her own student? I doubt it. Doesn't seem like Disney would want to repeat that again. So the only other path would be to have her not attempt to kill him and work something out. Of course, Disney couldn't do this at all. I'm just making up a hypothetical example. But I'm making up this example to show how there can be some issues that come up when you have Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order, because if she does certain things better than Luke, it's like, is she a better Jedi? And people might even try to argue that she defeated Palpatine, Luke couldn't defeat Palpatine on her own, on his own, needed Vader, so people might argue that. And I don't think there is an argument, but I'm sure it'll happen, especially with the movie coming out. So this video is about the future of Star Wars timeline-wise, not upcoming shows, upcoming movies. And this is going to be the intro of a series where I talk about what I think the future should be like. And it's not going to be totally fan-fiction-y because I'm going to base it off what Disney's doing with the Rey movie. So I'll have a video dedicated to what the rebuilding of the Republic, so maybe the new Republic, I don't know what we call it. I mean, it's getting tired of these republics that are just so weak, but how should they rebuild that? I'll talk about it. How should Rey rebuild the Jedi Order? I'll talk about it. Maybe Finn becoming a Jedi. I'll talk about it. Poe. These characters, I'll all talk about it this is going to be a series, the future of Star Wars. And I'm excited to make this series because even though I don't like the sequels, I don't like the characters, I know a lot of people in the community don't believe this, but I believe that the sequel characters can be redeemed. I believe that every single one of them, including Rey, can be redeemed. If you make good movies and good shows, yes, do the sequels still exist? Were they still bad? Yes, but you can redeem these characters and make them good. And I am excited to see if they can do that. So, of course, if I could get not the Rey movie and them start with something else, I'd love it. But this is what we got. So this is what we got to live with. And I think in this series, I will show what's best for Star Wars in my opinion. Of course, it's just my opinion, but how they should do it. And I see a lot of series on YouTube, great people that make these Star Wars videos, and it's like an intro. This is technically like the intro video. I just kind of gave a brief overview of what I'm going to be talking about. And I see these intro videos that are like 3 hours long. It's like discussing this thing of Star Wars, part 1. 3 hours long, and these people make great work, but it's like, I'm not going to sit there for 3 hours just for the first video, part 1. It's not going to get me hooked for the other parts. Maybe if all your parts were combined in a 3-hour video, then maybe, but so that's why the intro video, I'm keeping it short. The other videos probably be around the same length, 10 minutes, just so I can say my thoughts quickly. I'm not going to make you sit here for all day. We'll get done with what I think's best, and then you can leave your comments, let me know how you feel, and then we'll move on. So, may the Force be with you. Thanks for watching this intro video to a series I'm excited to be making, along with some other videos I'm making. I've been talking about a little bit how I'm making this really amazing video. I'm not going to talk about what it's about yet. It's really amazing. My most high production video ever. So when it'll come out, who knows, But it's going to be a longer video, and it's really high production, and I think y'all love it whenever it does come out. Thanks for watching.